Hi everybody. So I haven't done a live in 1,000 years, but I wanted to do it today to say goodbye. Shanae and I had an amazing run, and we have decided that we're not going to continue with Unzipped at this time. And we have a lot of exciting, fun things going on, which is amazing, but it's a little bittersweet. So, yeah, this is kind of sad. We're definitely going to keep the Unzipped podcast Instagram alive, and I've told her, oh, I have a little bug on me. Hi, little bug. What is this little creature? What are you? What are you, little guy? Bye-bye. Sorry, just interrupted by nature. Gotta love it. But I do have some fun things coming down the pipeline, a couple of projects that I'm working on developing. And also, a little while ago, and I saved all of your handles, all 500 of you. Hopefully there's more now. But a little while ago, I asked you guys on Story if you would be interested in learning more about how someone with a very high sexual energy could also be someone who has very healing energy. And a lot of you said yes. Brent, you're gonna marry me? Oh my goodness, I can't wait. We're so gonna have so much fun together. No, I really love this. And everyone, it was a mixed response of like, I asked everyone, would you want to do a Zoom with me if this was the topic? If we were talking about how someone with really full-on sexual energy could have really powerful healing energy. And 500 people were like, yeah, sign me up. And then a bunch of people were like, that's weird. I don't like that. Which those are the people who maybe should come hang out with us on the Zoom and check it out. But here's something to think about. Words to ponder. The energy that creates a person can heal a person. The energy that creates a person can heal a person. Now, we have bastardized sexuality in a puritanical age that's made it evil and bad and gross and whispery, all the things. And I don't like that. As someone who has survived, I've been through every form of sexual misconduct you can possibly fathom. If you can think it, I've probably experienced it. In Hollywood, in my childhood with sexual abuse as a kid, I've been through everything there is to go through. Assault when I was a teenager. I'm not being flippant, but I am being nonchalant because this is a conversation we should be able to talk about. It shouldn't make us all uncomfortable, and sex is a sin. You know what I mean? Thank you for bringing that up, Crispin82. Sex is a sin with an LMAO laughing face. I love that. It's so crazy. It's insane. If it's a sin, then we should all not be here, because every single one of us, as far as I'm aware, somebody had to have some kind of sexual activity going on, right? So the topic that I want to dive into, and I want to do a deep dive on it, and I want to do it with people who really are open-minded to something that we haven't heard in a very long time on this planet. And I say we haven't heard it in a very long time because the ancients used to practice this, right? This was a divine, sacred practice. The practice of sacred union, the practice of sacred sex. It was a powerful, magical, beautiful, wonderful, mind-blowing experience. And we should all have access to that. We should all be able to do that. I do it every day, y'all, with myself. And so it's a practice that you can actually do in your own personal time. But you talk these crazy, annoying, in my industry, cliches of like, once you're married, you never have sex again. It's such bullshit. It doesn't have to be that way. It is a cliche for a reason, because a lot of married people don't have sex. But it doesn't have to be that way if two people are committed to showing up for each other in every aspect, but not just missionary style boring shit. You know what I mean? Like, not that I don't love a good missionary style. I mean, I'm just like trying to like, you know, wrap my legs up there. Just make it a little creative. But what I have found after going through all of the fucked up shit that happened to me, and then all the fucked up shit I did to myself and allowed partners or provoked partners into doing to and with me, to getting to this point where, guys, I haven't had sex in like 2 years, at the exception of like one time. It's crazy. I mean, I was like, for me, it's like, okay, it's been 20 minutes, gotta go. So for me to be at a space where I have cleared all this energy, I've had, you know, some fun times with myself every couple of hours. But I'm doing this from the standpoint of this new and not so new modality because it's thousands of years old. But sacred sex, sacred union, the magic of sexuality, using the energy as a deepening, as an opening, as a heart opener, which I was never interested in because I didn't want my heart open. I didn't want my heart to get hurt, so I just closed myself off to everything and everyone. And this is something that I feel, it's just, I'm over what it's been for centuries. And I don't like this whole like men against women, women against men, the patriarchy, whatever. But there's aspects of it that aren't untrue. And the patriarchy did suppress the libido of the feminine. Women have a wild libido. We are so far beyond any of our male masculine counterparts because we can go and 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 go. Y'all gotta do a little reset action. So there's this incredible book. Hold on one second. Lindsay, my husband and I have been together for 18 years and we still have amazing sexual energy connection. Yes, Lindsay, you need to be in my Zoom. Okay, so there's a book called Sex at Dawn, and as I like to say, no, it's not about sex in the morning, although that would be lovely. Sex at the Dawn of Time. It's a book by a couple anthropologists, and it talks about the journey to suppressing the feminine and where we've gotten to this space and all of the years of the sacred virgin, which I don't mean to say that in a derogatory way. If that's something that you believe for yourself, that's wonderful. As long as you're not perpetrating that ideal onto me and calling me a hoe, and then I'm fine with it. Like, do whatever you do for yourself, but honor that sexuality, at least for me, and it can be for many people, is a sacred, divine practice that I fully honor now in my life. And that's what it was before. And then in this book, and Sex at Dawn, it talks about the hunter-gatherers, and it talks about the fact that during the hunter-gatherer period, 10,000 however many years ago, we had small groupings of people, and we went out and collected berries and killed a beast, and everyone had the things that they needed for the day, and there was no surplus because we just had our needs met. But in the communities, it was really interesting. Just to go back to that, like, we got a powerful libido as ladies. The women in the communities would have sex with all of the men as a form of bonding. It wasn't hoe night in this puritanical age. It was to bond, to connect, to deepen the relationship of the community. And when the women got pregnant, none of the men knew whose kid was theirs, so they fathered all the children. And there was this beautiful dynamic. Of course, then we introduced the agricultural age, and it was like, oh, I want surplus. This is my food, my property, my land, my wife, my woman, who has my line. Because the masculine, the men, didn't have a way of necessarily knowing that those kids were theirs, because if your lady was stepping out, you wouldn't really necessarily know unless he looked really different when the baby was born. But so So basically, okay, but hoe night sounds dope though. I'm not gonna go against a hoe night. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just saying that you can take it to it. If you can take it to the highest level, I'm 0 to 1,000. Why wouldn't we go to the top? So, wow, someone reported me for my comment. Oh no, I don't know what you said, but y'all keep it clean on here. Keep it nice. So basically, wow, what a beautiful take on history. I know this book is like an 800-page long book, so it's going to take you a minute to read it, but it's a worthy read. And when the agricultural age began, this was the beginning of the suppression of the feminine libido. And it's interesting also because I've been very interested in this for a very long time, and it's evolved as I've grown and healed and evolved. And I went through many different belief systems, from like just everything. Like monogamy should never be a thing to, okay, yes, it is something that I honor and I think is beautiful. I went through all the different levels of it because I am trying to get the most out of my human experience before I die. But so anyway, there were all these tests done, and it was they were showing imagery to men and women, and they were testing their level of arousal. And women got aroused at like literally the wind could blow, and it was like a woman was going, yes, baby. And I love this. I think it's beautiful because it's an expression of the human experience that's one of the most profound you'll ever find in all of the existence of the human dynamic. And it's been so perpetrated upon and bastardized and puritanicalized, which is not a word, but I just made it up. And it's just, in my opinion, and that's what my little series will be once I build it out and invite you guys in if you're interested. My series will be about this, the fact that we have an invitation to open our minds. We have an invitation to open our minds. We have an invitation to open our hearts, to open our concepts of reality. That you don't just have to look at something because that's what your parents did, and that's what their parents did, and that's what everybody's parents did. Because let's face it, like, were your parents, not that you want to think about this, but were they really having good sex? I don't know that to be true. I don't really want to think about it. But I definitely believe that if we're looking at this from, David Deida is an author who I love. David Deida wrote Enlightened Sex, and he talks about the 6 different forms of sex that lead all the way up to this sacred level of sex that I'm talking about. And so that's what that series will be about. I'm also doing a development thing right now for a mental health show, because that is obviously due to all the abuses and traumas that I went through. I suffered immense amount of mental health concerns and had to dive into all of that and go through it and heal from it. And it's a continual life journey, but I'm grateful to be mostly on the other side of all of that. And that and this are 2 of my biggest passions, and they actually play into each other, because when you start having enlightened sexual activities in your life, and that means that you can do that with a partner or with yourself, it's crazy how it frees your mind and frees your this like nagging noise in your mind and your brain is just like blah 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 blah, being an asshole all the time. Like, okay, why do I need to know that I was a moron at the dinner table at 2007 dinner party when I said something that I thought was funny and no one laughed? Why am I thinking about that right now? It's 2022. Don't I have real shit going on? That's the mind, though. The mind has no shame. It has 0 shame, and it will just hit you upside the head. What's interesting about my experience, my journey sexually, was when I was using sex as a vice, I was experiencing this disappearing from my body experience. And the one thing about it that was really, really, I think I used it because I never drank alcohol, I never did a drug, I never smoked a cigarette, but sex was my vice for a very long time. It would shut my mind off, and it was the only thing that would make my mind quiet. And I was just like, I just need a break from this brain that's so unkind to me. And that was the way I found my peace. And it wasn't very peaceful because as soon as everything was done, I needed another hit because it was all empty, and and it was this filling this void. Now it's very different. So the practice, as I get to the point of the yumminess, it's all yummy, but when you get to the yummiest yummy climactic point, I channel the energy in a very powerful way, and that's what my series will be about, on how to do that and what it feels like and what it looks like. Not what it looks like in tutorial. No, you have to. That's not happening. I just realized that sounds terrible. What it should look like for you if you are in that space and it's working and all the things. I will be articulating that with words and not anything else. But yes, so that hopefully will coincide and interweave beautifully with this work I'm doing for mental health advocacy, because it plays into it. And as I said at the beginning of this, the energy that creates a person can heal a person. It is an insanely palpable, absolutely wild, nutso energy that makes a person. Like, how do you make a person? What? I don't understand. Like, does anyone stop and think about the fact that two people just do some fun shit together and then all of a sudden a person grows like a watermelon, like a tree? Like, what? Isn't that a little whack? Like, that's powerful energy. If you can harness that energy, if you can use it in your life, as a good friend used to always say, Anna, empires have fallen. But empires have also been built. Ancient Egypt, there were sex festivals, and they used the energy of sexuality, not as some crazy orgy, but it was probably looked like a crazy orgy if you stumbled upon it and were time traveling. But it was so specific. They were using it for the energy of fertility. They were using it to empower one of the most profound civilizations ever to walk the face of our planet. Use the energy of sex in a sacred way. And it was about harnessing the energy of fertility, the power that could create a person. They were harnessing it with intention. And intentionality is everything. So I hope you guys aren't too upset that we're ending Unzipped. And I hope you'll take this journey, this sacred sex journey with me once I get everything going. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I'm going to go through the comments. La 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 la. Really the same. Yes, yeah, it used to be so sacred. I love you. My name is Prem Chopra. Hi, Prem. Oh! Matthew! You should connect with my friend Jennifer Pasiloff. She's the author on Being Human. Okay, please connect me. Yes, please. Maybe because sex releases feel-good hormones. Yes, okay, sex does release feel-good hormones, but this day and age, it's the craziest thing. We've literally chalked it up to hormones. Like, oh, well, it's a chemical connection. And it's like, okay, if you completely null and void the fact that there's anything remotely conscious and intelligent about a human being, yes, it's only hormones. And I'm not saying that to be derogatory towards you. I'm happy that you brought up that point. But that's narrative, that's rhetoric that we hear about it being, well, like, I'm connected because I had an oxytocin hit. That's one aspect of it. And also a whole lot of other shit is going on when you're energetically, physically, and chemically connecting with someone at the level of sex. So all of this stuff, I mean, if it's interesting to you, I really want bigger, broader conversations about this, and that requires questions. That requires us kind of digging into our own psyche and digging out the myths of shit we've been told about sex, or shit we've been told we weren't allowed to experience, or whatever it is. So that will be a part of the series as well, is the deep dive into, like, okay, what has this last several centuries done to screw up our mentality, or to just simplify, perhaps, the experience of what this can be. That's something that I want to dive into. Good point. As a scientist, I can simplify complexity too much sometimes. Okay, definitely need you in the talk if you're a scientist. I definitely am obsessed with the science side of it. But you bringing that point up, right? You saying that a scientist can simplify things almost too much, but it's not that it's bad. We need all parts. We need someone who's giving us the science. We need someone who's giving us the history. We need someone who's giving us the personal experience. If we put all of that in a room together, we can find, some really cool old, new, old ways of looking at this. And I really think it'll return us to the ways of the ancients. And there's a reason that we're so obsessed, or at least I am, with Egyptian culture and Egyptian civilization, because ancient Egypt is just yummy. There's something that's so alluring about it. And I don't know. I'm just, wait, hold on. Don't you ever feel bad after sex unless you want to be with them afterwards, though? Okay, so that's an amazing thing. Thank you for bringing that to light. There is another need in our culture and society to be able, because we can't communicate about sex, because it's been made taboo, we can't casually have a conversation and feel comfortable. It's got all this weight to it, right? Hundreds and hundreds of years of this weird guilt weight. So what if we could never feel the guilt and never feel the shame? We talk very freely, like how do you like your pizza? Well, I like pepperoni and Italian sausage. Oh, cool. Well, I hate anchovies, so I don't want that. What if we talked about sex in that way? Then it would be a lot simpler. We'd say, hey, I'm super stoked to get laid with you tonight. It's going to be so much fun. I personally am in a place right now where I'm just experiencing life and I'm doing me, and this is where I'm at. Is that okay with you? Is that comfortable for you if we're going to have this beautiful sacred connection and it's going to be this one sacred moment? I think that's amazing. I think that's beautiful. We don't fucking communicate on this planet because of all of the weighted bullshit. Yes, ancient sacred sex, the Babylon history, Ishtar and Madonna. Yes. That's where this is all going. But yeah, I do want to focus on ways that we do and don't communicate around sex, ways that we do and don't communicate with our would-be partners because of shame or guilt or anything that makes this part of your throat just start to squeeze tight and you don't feel like you can say it, your needs getting met, or I've met so many survivors who have had consensual sex that they really didn't want to have because they didn't know how to say, I wanted to make out with you and have so much fun with you, but I actually don't want the sex part right now. I'm not ready, or there's so many different layers of it. But again, would you say that to someone if you were ordering a pizza? Like, I feel really uncomfortable, but can you not put pepperoni on there? You know what I mean? Like, we don't do that about pepperoni because there's no weight to it. We do that about sex because for centuries we've had this bullshit in our mind that it's somehow this horrific thing or taboo thing or evil thing, and that's the language that I would like to be a part of during my lifetime, making some change on. I would like to change that shit. So yeah, anyway, you guys are writing so much amazing stuff. Hold on. My therapist said to me once when I was feeling guilty about wanting to sleep with a lad and not be with them, she said, there's nothing more beautiful and powerful for a woman to own their body. For a human even. And yes, I totally agree with your therapist, and I'm so glad that she had the wherewithal to give you that beautiful advice, and you had the vulnerability to be able to share that. Sometimes we don't even share the things we need to share with our therapist because there's so much guilt and shame. But absolutely, for a human to own yourself, and this is another thing I think with men. Oh my God. Like, in the same way that I think, at least for me, I grew up thinking like, oh, okay, well, if I ever want to get loved, I just have to like constantly have sex with people. And it was this fear that because I was feeling that I was just an object to be used, and it had played my trauma played into it massively, but also media and culture and this bullshit played a major role in that, in my narrative. But guys also are made to believe that they've got to say all the right things. So like for me, there were times when I just wanted to have a partner to enjoy the pleasures of yumminess with and nothing else. And we did have those open conversations because I was a liberated woman. But I say that like that because I think that it's only been indicative of someone who's just like, I can have sex and it doesn't mean anything. I now think that being liberated actually is having sex that's so meaningful and so profound and so powerful. And if you only have it once with that person, you had an incredible fucking night or all day or whatever it was. And isn't that wonderful? Is that not wonderful? So for guys to be able to be free to say, hey, I'm out of space in my I'm in my 20s. I'm like, my whatever the age is, and I'm like, I want to just have fun with women. Can we do this? Can we do this? And how much more amazing would it be for a woman to know where she stands with the guy? How awesome could the fun be? And then nobody has to get this like hurt feelings, ghosting, all the bullshit crap that comes with something, because people are putting intention or putting expectations on something because they don't know, because there's no communication around it. Communication around this can make it so profound and so beautiful and so wonderful. What if you're into him but aren't enjoying the sex? That's another big part of this, my dear friend. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that's a huge aspect. Like, I mean, you're like, man of my dreams, everything's amazing. Oh no, what just happened? Was that what we're doing for the rest of my life? No. And that's about communication. That's about making someone comfortable. I know a big part of that, at least from my standpoint, and I'm only, just so you know, everything I'm saying here is my point of view. I am not, I mean, I've got a little expertise, but I'm not an expert on anything in regards in the world, the way that's viewed. But I'm going on my personal experience. I like to go in crazy and like, let's do all the things and have so much fun and amazing, and then really communicate during sex. Like, do you like this? Is this amazing? How are you feeling? Like, and kind of bringing the relationship into that dynamic so that you can perhaps at a separate time say, hey, there's some things that I would like to try, or I would like to experience, or I'm interested to hear what you might fantasize about in the shower when I'm not here, and kind of go into it in a way that that navigates that shame, and maybe even starting off the conversation with, hey, I know that this is a conversation that makes a lot of people in the world uncomfortable. I want to have the deepest dive with you. I want to do all the things that you feel comfortable with. I also want to know what you're into and things that we haven't discovered. Can we dive into this? Can we play around? Can we discover? Can we read Enlightened Sex together and see which one of the 6 levels of sex, where are we at? Where would we like to be? Would we like to try all of it? That would be a way that I would approach that if you're in a situation where your person is your person and you know that, and what you're struggling with is sex. Because one of the things that sex therapists say is that when sex is good, it's 10% of the relationship, but when it's bad, it's 90%. So it really can cause a rift, because it's so important for bonding. It's so important for your spiritual deepening and connectiveness with your person and with yourself. And so it is important to be able to get to that space. And maybe it is reading a book together, or depending on who your human is. I mean, that might not always be the option, but asking someone what their deepest, darkest are with complete acceptance and no judgment is a great way to open up that conversation. What is the book you suggest to read? Oh, let me put it into the thing. It's by David Deida, Deida, and it's called Enlightened Sex. And it's the 6 different and you in there. I mean, I was a little triggered with some of the stuff he was saying. So just know that he's offering a real gift with that, and all of the books that David Deida, I swear by his teachings. But did my comment come through? I can't see it on here. I was gonna pin it. Okay, maybe not. I'm 27, just started something with a 24-year-old virgin, and remarkably, he is discussing what he likes and what I like. It's so magic. That makes me so happy. Naturally, Harriet, you guys are going to have an amazing, fun, wonderful, sacred journey together. I'm so excited. I think male culture doesn't really make this dynamic a safe one for women in the way you're describing. It's a very general statement, but a lot of women hesitate because they don't feel safe. I agree with that. That's actually one of the things that I want to address with this series, which I'm talking about doing this series in case you joined just very recently. I want to do a sex on this. I want to do a sex on this. I want to do a sex series on this because of that exact thing. And I believe that we have such an opportunity to invite in the masculine, invite in the narrative of the patriarchy that has not served, and start asking questions. Where did this come from? Whose ideology was this? What white old guy in the Catholic Church was once again bastardizing sexuality while they do the things that they do? You know, a lot of times, I mean, my sexual abuse was by a pastor. There's so much of that in the church. And it's because of this taboo nature. What is suppressed will be expressed. You can have a beautiful religion that then has this horrible, the nasty thing going on the side because we're not fully expressing, because we're pushing shit down. That is a form of oppression of the human experience. And it's not to negate your beliefs. I have my beliefs. Everybody has their beliefs. If they calls you to be a better person, to experience more joy and harmony and peace, and do not teach you to cause harm, I am all for what you believe. If you're out and don't get me wrong, hurt, I'm okay with. Harm, I'm not. If I hurt your feelings because I'd say the truth, we can communicate about that, and you and I can talk, and you can say, hey, I didn't like how you handled that, and I can apologize. But if I am harming you, that is to say that me coming here and saying yours is wrong and mine is right, I'm the only one who knows anything about, okay, well, since I don't want to be anything like you, I'm gonna go away and never talk to you again. That's what I mean by the difference in hurting and harming. My rapist was an Islamic imam. Yeah. So I'm so sorry to hear that, and I appreciate you sharing that with me. So this is the nature of when we repress our experience as human beings, when we suppress it, when we say that it's bad to have sex. What happens? Sex gets more exciting, because if you say no to me, I definitely want to do it now, right? So there's an invitation here to have a broader conversation. Church have bad name due to rapes behind the scenes. They do. Again, my sexual abuser as a child was a pastor. That does not mean that all pastors are abusers. There are some beautiful, wonderful ones. But when you are in a belief system that stops the human experience by telling you that it's bad, that's the problem that I have with it. Okay, invite someone into your beliefs and say, hey, we think that it's sacred to honor your sexual practice, and these are the codes of ethics that we follow. If you're interested, follow with us. That's different than saying, you shall burn in hell if you put penis into, you know what I mean? Like, okay, that was a little graphic, sorry. I will definitely save this stream. I definitely am stoked to be on here with all of you guys. Okay, okay, thank you. Oh, good night, Valerie. What is your opinion on someone who's very sexual but is uncomfortable talking about it, but someone who's freely open but done it less? Your opinion on someone who's very sexual but is uncomfortable talking about it, but someone who's freely open but done it less? Oh, okay, that's really interesting, Isabella. Thank you for bringing that up. So someone who's very sexual but is uncomfortable talking about it. There's a few things at play here sometimes. So it depends on how they're raised, how they were conditioned, I like to say, programmed. Our parents don't know that they're doing this. Teachers don't realize. Churches maybe do. Most big adult people don't realize that they are squashing the brains of little humans when they push their ideals forward into the early life of children. So that plays a factor in what you're talking about, as someone who's very sexual but uncomfortable talking about it. Also, and this is something that I've experienced from all the work that I've done. I've worked fighting sex trafficking, sexualized violence against women and children for the last decade and a half. And then I found out 4 years ago that this had happened to me, that I was sexually abused as a kid, and I had to go through PTSD treatment and post-traumatic stress disorder treatment, and begin the healing journey of that. And that was following all of the other sexual misconduct experiences that I had had up until that point at age 31. So I was someone who was very extreme. And what I've noticed is that when there's extremities involved, when things are taken to the extreme, meaning that someone is incredibly withdrawn or someone is incredibly overt. So I was very like out there. I'm sexually liberated. I am woman, hear me roar. And that was me. Someone else who's been through exactly what I've been through might never want to be around the conversation of sex and might feel very, very uncomfortable in that setting. But people who haven't been through things that are very severe have a tendency to be more center line. So immediately when I'm speaking with someone and they're one end of the spectrum or the other, I know something's up. And it doesn't have to be the worst of the worst scenario. It can be emotional, it can be verbal, it can be spiritual abuse, it can be religious trauma, but it oftentimes does originate in early childhood, and it does center around some form of suppression and an abuse relating to that. So that, I think, is an aspect of why someone would feel those antithetical feelings. They both want to be more engaged and they don't feel comfortable, or they're free but they haven't experienced that much. And I think the latter, for someone who is free and open but hasn't experienced that much, the world is your oyster, my love. I mean, that's beautiful. That's the space to invite in and just continue to honor that freedom and check in with yourself and make sure it's honoring you and the partner that you're with. And like I said, the world's your oyster. I saw something on here I want to address. Rape has no religion. I agree. It expands every aspect of our entire planet, unfortunately. And that's why it's important when we're calling out those issues, we put blame where blame belongs, which is on the rapist. But it goes back beyond that, because why did someone rape to begin with? So this is where my brain goes with stuff. I want to know the origin of all things, right? So I'm not trying to just stop at, oh, it's the rapist's fault in the end, because I don't. Because if I saw the person who sexually abused me as a child right now, I would walk up to him and say, hey, can I help you? Can we get you the support you need? Because this clearly happened to you. We do what we're shown, right? My doctor always said, nothing comes from nowhere. That means that something comes from somewhere. When did the first rape happen? Who did it? Why did it happen? What was going on, right? Children, I always ask this question when I'm working fighting human trafficking. When does a child who's 2-3 years old, who never wants to hurt anybody, stop being that innocent little baby and become someone who sells other people? Right? Anybody? Like, what happened? Where did the system go wrong? Where did we fail this little one, this little booba, and then determine that this was now going to be the trajectory? What happened? What did we do to that child, that 3-year-old innocent little child, to create in them an insensitivity so profound that they could sell a fellow human being? Same goes for rape, same goes for abuses, same goes for all of this. It's generational, it's ancestral, it has to be broken, these cycles have to end. And that is the invitation that we have as the individual. So we have an invitation when we've experienced these things to break the chain, to break the cycle. It is not easy. I know from personal experience, the chains are all broken because of me and with me. They go no further than me. I ended that shit. All the things that happened to me, all the fucked up shit, every single one of those people, bring them all to me. Stand them in a line right here. I want to have a conversation with them. Tell me why you raped me. Tell me why you sexually abused me. What happened to you? Are you okay? Do you need help now? That's where I'm at with it because of the work that I've done. And I will continue to do this work until the day that I die, because I only want to be at my highest level for my highest good, for my highest self. It's not about whether or not someone deserves it. And you're right, naturally, Harriet, it's not easy. It is not easy. But I am no longer committed to my suffering. And I was highly committed to my suffering for a very long time. When I say no longer committed to my suffering, what I mean is the mind reliving this experience, the body activating survival instinct and constantly having me in terror. I don't want that anymore. But I played a role in the replay of it. And I was invited to make a shift, to make several shifts. And I did that with somatic work. I did that with Kundalini, which was the introduction to me learning more about sacred sexuality. And now, I like to sing this song that's so cheesy and I don't give a flying shit, but I'm like, you can't take my joy, you can't take my joy, I won't let you have it, I won't let you have it. I can't sing, but I am so committed to my joy. I'm so committed to my truth and my happiness and on this planet. I'm so committed to my presence in the moment. So when I'm not feeling happy and I'm not feeling down, I don't go searching for joy. I just say, okay, we're in a down moment. Let's be here with this. Hi, down moment. What's up? How you doing, honey? This is kind of blah, right? And this, you won't break my soul. Yes, except she sings much better than me. Beyonce. Self-improvement to the point of making yourself a better human, not for anybody, just for yourself. Yes, exactly. So, and I like to say, instead of self-improvement even, it's unbecoming. It's self-unbecoming. So I was a perfect little specimen. This is what I tell myself anyway. I was a perfect little smush. And then people did shit to me. And I took the layers of what they did to me off of me. So I unbecame what they made me into when they caused this harm. And now I'm the me I always would have been. I'm fully connected and in connection with my inner child. And we play all the time whenever I have time. And this return to myself didn't require improvement. It actually required me to do a demolition project. I didn't improve the house. I didn't build more floors and things. I ripped that house to shreds. And I was like, ew, who built my house all fucked up like this? No, thank you. And in the process of that, I thankfully found this lady here with you today, and I like her. And I wanted to, unfortunately, for a very long time, I wanted to end her life. And hi, Ikar, my love. I love you so much. Oh my God, you just made my day. We're just talking about sacred sexuality. Oh my gosh, y'all. Ikar, who is on here, Ikar Wood, if you see him, he is a big part of why sacred sexuality is a huge aspect of my whole journey now. It was so amazing. I was like, I wanted to do this guided breathwork kind of thing, and I was talking to him about it, and he was like, well, if you do a breathwork with me, it's going to be ... an experience. And he did not disappoint. We had one of the most powerful afternoons of my entire life. It was so profound. I felt so safe with you, Ikar. I feel so safe with you. You're such a gift to our planet. To be a woman who has been through what I've been through, and to go into the home of a man that I, knew from actually interviewing him on the podcast on Unzipped, and really not knowing, not necessarily knowing if I was safe or whatever, but instantly I felt so safe with Ikar. And he's like, okay, here's the blindfold. And I'm like, wait, what are we doing? I'm like, I have trauma. Like, this is not going to be a good idea. And I don't know, the energy, I just trusted him, and he provided me this beautiful space. I screamed, I cried, I sang, I laughed, I danced. I mean, I went through every single possible emotion in this it was like a 3-hour session, Ikar. This like 3-hour session of deep breathing, connective breathing, and he was activating my body and removing my control, like removing my need to like be in control. And this is a part of a survivor's experience that's really scary, because when we weren't in control, it was when someone was taking the control from us. So to be in a space with a man and feel as safe as I did with Ikar, and to be able to do this practice, and it was a very sexually awakening thing. It was Kundalini awakening, but it wasn't sexual at all. It was this healing experience. Once again, the energy that creates a human can heal a human. There are no words. I'm just deeply grateful to Ikar and for practices like this. And I know I've been talking you guys' ears off for such a long time. But I do, again, I'm going to go back one more time and just reiterate what I'm doing. So I'm putting together a series that will involve all the aspects. So past, present, future. It'll be inner child. It will be shadow self, and then that future you that you are stepping into. And as an actress, I can help you act as if, which is a very powerful way to manifest. So during that journey, we will deepen our exploration, our connection, or our lack of connection or disconnection to sexuality, to sacred sex, to the understanding of it, to the questions we have that have kind of burned on the inside of our soul, but we've never really felt safe enough to say out loud. This will be I'll invite you to a sacred sanctum, and it'll be a special safe place where we can talk about this and go into what these different modalities are. How do we open the minds of not only ourselves and be open to this, but if we're with a partner, how do we bring them in on this? How do we invite them into sacred sex and sacred union and sacred magic with us? And can we expand this? Can we share this? Can we turn this into a movement, which is always my way? I'm like the day of the rising tide. That's my astrology day. I'm a crusader. I'm like Joan of Arc over here, trying to change the entire societal structure of existence. But it's not changing it. It's just bringing it back. I just want to bring it home. I want to bring it home to the civilizations that were doing it in a way that was honoring of the masculine and the feminine, and this joint connection and their equanimity and their equality. And I just think, and also something to know about the masculine and feminine, and that's why I say those words specifically. The masculine and feminine is within all of us, so we have both energies within us, and any sex can embody more masculine, more feminine, depending on their energy field, their vibes. So in partnership, what you'll find is that if there's sexual polarity, and David Deida talks about this, if there's sexual polarity in partnership, one partner will be more dominantly masculine and one partner will be more dominantly feminine. And again, that applies to any sex, any gender, any birth gender or whatever. But it is required for polarity to exist, for that attraction. If you are two masculine energies and there's no flow of life and the beauty of all things and the movement and the motion of existence, then you can be great friends. Y'all can have a good old time, but the sex ain't gonna be shit. Like, it's gonna be so sad. And if you have two feminine energies, like, you guys can just move with the flow of existence and dance with the wind and sing and cook, and y'all ain't having remarkable, mind-blowing sex. It might be sensual and yummy because the feminine does explore all things, but it's not gonna like grab your soul and devour you. And I'm all about a good devouring. So we'll talk about all that stuff too. And yeah, I'm gonna put this up there. Please comment and any more questions and any more thoughts on this topic, I would love to continue this conversation until the day I die. So please keep your messages coming and your comments coming, and lots of love, and to many sacred, yummy, delicious, consensual, perfect, incredible orgasms. All right, adieu to you and you and you.